This is the way. This is the way.
This week we get to explore one of my favorite planets in Star Wars, and I gotta say, it was a blast of an episode. So let's break down and review episode 6 of Bad Batch Season 2, titled Tribe. Before we get into it, if you're a fan of our videos, please like our content and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out and gives us the opportunity to create more content for you. Alright, let's get into it. The episode starts us off with the Bad Batch visiting a pretty cool looking space station, one I haven't seen before, and they are selling off fake chain codes to some droid buyers. It was a pretty genius way for them to make money, since we saw in the first season that Tech learned to forge chain codes in episode 2 on the planet Seleucami to get Cut LaQuinn, the clone deserter, and his Twi'lek family off-world. While waiting around for Bad Batch to finish the deal, Omega hears a struggle and finds a young Wookiee, and we find out it's Gungi, the Wookiee Jedi who was first introduced on Clone Wars Season 5, Episode 6, titled The Gathering. Gungi has clearly been through a lot, and he's been on the run for a while, and as they are fighting the droid captives, Gungi retrieves his Brylark wood lightsaber, which we got to see him construct in Clone Wars. They make it off the space station, and Gungi tells the Bad Batch crew that he wants to return home to Kashyyyk. Now, he doesn't have a lot of memories of Kashyyyk because he was taken when he was a baby, but he knows he wants to go home. And this episode is absolutely brilliant. With Gungi, we get to see firsthand the amount of trauma and isolation any Jedi survivor must feel at this point, and the episode did a fantastic job of conveying this trauma in Gungi. And I gotta say, guys, it was really exciting to get to explore Kashyyyk in this episode. And if you didn't know, Kashyyyk was actually supposed to first appear on screen in Return of the Jedi. Instead of the forest moon of Endor, the final battle was supposed to be on Kashyyyk, and the Wookiees were going to be slaves that were forced into building the second Death Star. While I absolutely love Return of the Jedi, I really wish they could have given us this in the movie rather than Endor. Now, Kashyyyk was first introduced in the Star Wars Holiday Special back in 1978, where Chewbacca was trying to get home to Kashyyyk to be with his family on Life Day. And in canon, we finally got our first appearance of Kashyyyk in Revenge of the Sith. And I love the fact that we got an entirely new typography in this episode of Bad Batch. It made the world of Kashyyyk feel much bigger, and you got a real sense of the immense forest planet covered in Rothshire trees. We then find out the Empire has been through Kashyyyk and is using the Trandoshans, who like to hunt Wookiees for sport, to strip the planet of resources. It was a good touch that they were using repurposed armored assault tanks from the Separatists. After the Bad Batch and Gungi fight off the Trandoshans, they encounter some Wookiees riding what looked like some sort of large cat-like creatures. And at this point, they're taken back to the tribe to meet the Elder. I loved how they incorporated the Wookiees' connection with the Rothshire trees, and that they would commune with them, which reminded me of the Pandorans in Avatar communicating through trees and other creatures. The trees help our heroes with a plan, and they are able to fight off the remaining clone troopers and Trandoshans with the help of the spider creatures. And while this episode seems to end on a positive note, unfortunately though, we know that the Empire eventually conquers Kashyyyk and forces all the Wookiees into slavery. Will Gungi and his new tribe escape the Empire? Only time will tell. All in all, I very much enjoyed this episode. Getting a new look at Kashyyyk and exploring more of the Wookiee culture made this a standout episode for me, so I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. While we didn't get a whole lot in regards to furthering the main story, this episode did a very good job of showing us more of the repercussions of the Empire coming into power. So what did you think of this week's episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts and comments below. So thanks for joining me today on Fatherly Fandom, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And from our families to yours, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.